are powers on Earth too hidden to be seen, and conspiracies too vast to comprehend. For years, the world has seen fact distorted, reality manipulated, and the truth concealed. Join the Pierre Sabak podcast to uncover the real meanings behind ancient aliens and their symbolism.
Hi, this is Pierre Sabak, unlocking the keys to the mysteries. Now today we're going to be looking at the Arcane tradition, so that which is hidden, and we're going to look at the relationship between the Archons. So in order to do this, first of all, we're going to look into the etymology of the word and try and deconstruct what the word arcane actually means. So if we look at the etymology, the Latin word arcanus is from arcere, which is to shut up, from arca, a chest. Now, this is important because the arcane tradition refers to what I refer to directly as cytology, which is the study of angelic vessels. By this, I mean vessels are often represented as carriers for angels. So, for example, in the Arabian tradition, the lamp, which would be a shining lamp, would actually contain or carry a jinn. Now, the connotation of the vessel, as in the English, suggests a ship or a carrier. Now this is important in terms of symbolism and understanding the interrelationship between the arcane tradition and the cytological tradition, so the study of vessels. Now the Greek word cytology comes from the etymology of koutos, a vessel. Now it's important because obviously the vessel and the ship are related, which would mean that the cytological tradition is also correspondent with the scatological tradition. As I've talked about before, the scatological tradition is the academic study of angelic ships within the mythological and religious tradition. So scaphology, therefore, in relation to the cytological tradition, is very complementary. So going back then to the etymology of arca, which is a chest, we can see that there's a close correspondence between arca, a chest, or a chest, or a vessel in this case, with the etymology of ark, which would be a type of ship. In this respect, a carrier or a vessel. Now, the word ark in English has this connotation of a large ship, and this is really coming from the Greek etymology of olkas, which is a large carrier vessel. So this would be a large merchant vessel or a big ginormous ship. Now, we can also see then, in terms of arca, which is a chest or a vessel, and ark, which is a large ship, is related to the etymology of arc, which would be a curve. Now, as I've said before, these are curved ships and therefore relate to the Ophanim wheels. In the Greek traditions in particular, these wheels are often represented as shields with the boss being a point or a spike, which feeds into the again, it feeds into the cytological tradition of a religious votive dish. So, looking then at the morphology, we see then that the stem ark, which is a large ship, is correspondent with olkas, which is a large carrier vessel. Now, as we can see then, this large carrier vessel, olkas, which is a large carrier vessel in the esoteric symbolism, is a cognate of a divinity, in particular an archon, which is a ruler or an angel. And again, the word archon is working on polymorphic symbolism, because the ruler is deemed to come from an angelic lineage. And I've said this dozens of times before, but I think it's really worth emphasizing that we can see therefore that certainly in the Semitic languages there is this relationship between Malak, an angel, and Melech, a king. In this respect, the king is derived from an angelic vessel. In English we would say kingship. In Greek there would be obviously the correspondence between Archon and Olkas, which is a large vessel. Again, the implication is that the ruler is from an angelic lineage. In other words, this would relate to kingship, rulership, lordship. Okay, so these are all terminologies which suggest an angelic lineage. Now, we can therefore say that the arcane tradition is a hidden tradition because it's about vessels, but in particular, these vessels are deemed to be angelic ships, so feeds directly into the scatological tradition. So I really want my audience to understand here that the arcane tradition, the scatological tradition, and the study of vessels, which is the cytological tradition, kutos, a vessel, these are all interrelated. So therefore we can say that the arcane tradition relates to the word or etymology arc, and again it is therefore indicative of the cytological tradition. Now it's very interesting because the earliest, or some of the earliest depictions within Christian illuminated manuscripts of arcs, in particular Noah's Ark, is actually represented as circular or round. And so this is really important because this really is a depiction, or a very early, or a relatively early depiction of an opening wheel. And so this is going back into what I describe as the classified tradition. Remember that the word classified is a cognate of the Greek word klassis, which is a naval fleet. The naval tradition in this respect appertains to an angel. If we recall, the word malak, an angel, is directly correlated with malak, which is a sailor. So the naval or the classical tradition, which is classified, is the angelic tradition. I think it's useful also to go into the symbolism of Noah's Ark. So we'll look quickly at the symbolism of Noah's Ark. Now, one of the reasons within illuminated manuscripts that Noah's Ark is represented as circular is to do with the etymology. So I'm going to try and break down some of these etymologies for you. So, for example, the Hebrew word teva, which is an ark, sometimes it's rendered in the Old Semitic as teba. Remember that the switch between the B and the V morphologically is found within the Indo-European languages. So teva or teba, which is an ark, is envisaged or is represented symbolically as tabat, which is a ring, and this corresponds to the Arabic word tabak, which is a platter. So this is very important because the opening wheels are represented as a votive dish, and in a literal sense the votive dish can be understood to be a flying saucer. So we can see then that the worship of angelic vessels literally is to worship. The word ship suggests an angelic vessel. As we've said before, the etymology of religion and religare to more a vessel are all one and the same idea. Again, the same correspondence is found in the Arabic. Sabak, which is to praise or glorify, is correspondence with Sabaoth, the Aramaic or Hebrew etymology for the angelic host. So we can understand then that the angelic vessel is an elliptical vessel. It's round, it is circular. And these round ships, therefore, within occult symbolism, are tied in ritually to a sacrificial platter, which would be represented in occult symbolism literally as a flying saucer. Now, the flying saucers is another representation of the opening wheels, which we've said in the Greek traditions. The shield, oplon, a shield, is related to pleon, a boat or a vessel, because the round shield is adorned around the ship. Again, an extension of that idea would be the aegis, which is a shield of a deity, but is used as a code word for an angelic vessel. Now, this then brings us into the symbolism of the Archon, and that's something which I really want to look at in the next video. So I'm going to stop this video here, but if you are intrigued and you want to know how the Arcane tradition relates to the Archontic tradition, then I suggest that you tune in to the next part of this video. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to talking again and to discussing these ideas further. Thank you for listening. This is Pierre Sabak. Let's try and make this a better world. Thank you very much.